welcome to the 2024 BC Mixed Doubles Curling Championship. We are in Victoria Curling Club in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia. What a day. We are going to start off with the round of 12. In one pool, we have a second place team, Maya Belway and Dave Belway, taking on a third place team in another pool, Corey Chester and Taylor Reese-Hansen. There's going to be a lot of action today, and we are so excited to get it done.
And welcome to the Victoria Curling Club. I am Richard Zussman. You've met Melissa Saligo. She joins me, and we're obviously going to have a very exciting day of curling here. The feature match right in front of us, Maya Belway and Dave Belway against Taylor Reese-Hansen and Corey Chester. You set it up a little bit there, but clearly Chester and Reese-Hansen come into this one of the top-ranked doubles teams in the country, 9th in Canada. Belway's only competed in a handful of events. On paper, this is not much of a match, but we don't play curling on paper. So what are you looking for over the next 2 hours here?
You got that right, Richard, absolutely. So, interestingly enough, is Belway actually finished second in their pool, and Corey Chester and Taylor Reese-Hansen third in their pool. So that's why they're meeting right now in this round of 12. But as you said, Reese-Hansen, Chester playing a lot on the circuit this year, really trying to find those points, get those points, and work their way up the Canadian team ranking system, and that's what they've done.
They lost in the final a year ago here. We'll start getting the flow of this here as you see Dave Belway throwing his second stone, it looks like, as we've just gotten underway in the first end. And for those unfamiliar, doubles may be a little bit different than what people are used to when they watch curling. Give me the breakdown, Melissa, on what we should expect when we look at doubles compared to the curling that you grew up playing and that so many may be familiar with.
Yeah, so very interesting. So you only throw 5 rocks per team. So the women usually throw rocks 1 and 5, and you'll see the men throw 2, 3, and 4.
Yep,
and 9 times out of 10, Richard, you'll see all the rocks coming towards the center line. Now, once in a while, we'll see the power play, and if we see one of those this game, we'll explain it then. Yep. But right now, it's all about the position.
Definitely less. Okay, a little tighter too.
You want to make sure that you are never behind that tee line, and you are setting up your stones right in front of your opposition stones as you work your way through every game.
Yeah, this is my first real experience watching this. It's incredible how many rocks you see in play. The other thing is the way the rocks are set up at the beginning. So they set up 2 stones to start with. Why do they do that, and what does it do in terms of the strategy that comes into play?
Yeah, so they set up a rock. So if you are throwing first rock, your rock is actually in front of the tee line, in front of the house, pardon me. And if you are hammer, you actually have a rock behind the 4-foot. And the idea of that is trying to get lots of rocks to play, as you just mentioned. So if you are first rock, a first end or any end, your goal is to try and freeze to the one that's sitting in the back of the 4-foot. And then you see the rocks trying to pile up, right? And that's what happens. And then almost every rock is usually in play.
Yeah, and then you find these angles. A few times this week you've seen 6-enders.
Exactly.
These incredible shots. And games can swing quite wildly, and that's what's exciting here. We talk about the rankings coming into this week. They largely don't matter. It's about getting hot. It's about good teamwork. And then, making those shots when they matter. There's a bunch of other games going on today as well. We'll get to that. The big one, obviously, the junior girls semifinals. We'll be doing the finals later today. We have a few others in this stage for the mixed doubles as well. So we'll get to some of those scores as we go along. But clearly a lot of action going on. It's been a very busy week so far here in Victoria.
Exactly. So we had 20 teams that started the mixed doubles.
Okay, I liked it.
12, and this is what we're going to call the round of 12. So
it's
any
good.
Team that finished first in the round robin in their pool,
they
have got to bye to the 7 o'clock game tonight. And now we're trying to figure out who they're going to play. That's why there's 4 games out here, trying to figure out who's going to win that round of 12 to get into the quarterfinals.
And you'll notice another really interesting thing here in doubles. You just notice Corey Chester threw a stone, and then he gets up immediately and he starts sweeping it himself. The teams make the decision. Do they want the skip to stand down there and give them something to throw at? Sometimes you see the teammate come right up close and sweep for them all the way. It's all about the strategy, the types of shots they're throwing, as well as what they're seeing out there on the ice.
Exactly, and with all the experience that both of these teams have, it's really about what your preference is. So you'll see a lot of teams that sometimes they won't actually have any sweeping except for the thrower. But however, sometimes you'll see the broom holder actually go down and do that, as you said. So it just depends on what you feel is necessary in the moment. If it's a new patch of ice, you're probably going to have a broom holder to start with, because you got to visualize where that broom's going to be, where that target is going to be. It's really hard to throw a rock without a target, but that's what you train for. That's what you try and determine when you are
Line's
playing
not bad.
mixed doubles.
Yeah,
Got a curl.
Dave Belway,
heavy,
Maya
heavy,
Belway's
heavy.
dad,
Whoa,
father-daughter
whoa, whoa.
team here. Both of them have been competitive in playing, men's and women's. In the case of Maya, more recently junior curling as well. But
Wow, that's quicker there.
figuring out how you work with your teammate is such a crucial part of all of this as well.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So let's have a listen
That
here.
quicker
as,
there, I threw less.
we see
Yeah.
Reese-Hansen and Chester figuring out their last throw here.
Right, middle,
Yeah.
crispy.
So you see that what happened there is Corey actually puts the broom down. They talk about where they want the broom, the target. He puts it down. They both have a look at it, and then
Yeah,
Corey will
I-
make his way down
I can
to
finish
sweep
it
the
pretty
rock. And that's
effectively here.
typically a lot of times that happens for this team. But I've
Got
seen
it,
it happen
yeah.
quite a lot around the other teams as well.
Yeah, I
You
like it.
mentioned it. Lots of experience playing together. They finished second in this tournament a year ago. They are one of the most experienced teams out here in
65,
terms of
70?
matches
Yep.
played together. So that
Yeah, give me
communication
65.
really gets down when you have that sort of experience together.
Do we have an overhead?
Got it. Still there
Chance,
though, tight.
obviously, to score here. So
Line's
let's
a
take a
little
look
tight,
and
Corey.
see how this one ends up.
Over
and you
and
can hear
off.
communicating that this one's tight
Over
out
and
of the hand.
off. Over and off.
Team
Over
Belway,
curling,
Belway
whoa.
does have the hammer here in the first end based on the fact that they finished second in their pool.
Sit.
So Taylor's trying to basically block the draw
Okay.
path.
Shot,
And you'll hear, terminology for the players throughout. And
shot take.
one of them is crispy. The
Okay.
ice is changing a little bit outside. We have the rain that's coming to Victoria now. When he describes something as crispy, what's he talking about in terms of the ice conditions?
Yeah.
So what he means
And it
by
was
crispy
never-
is that
so
the
it ended
pebble
up
is
being-
still crispy. It hasn't had a lot of rocks
It's up
over
right
top
up there,
of it
too.
yet, which means it's a new path. Typically, obviously,
Maya, you
with
could probably.
mixed doubles, you see all the
With
rocks
like back
coming
four, I think
kind
you
of
could get to
edge of
that
8,
through this hole.
middle of 12, coming towards the center. But if you have to adjust that pathway, then it's called crispy or fresh ice, fresh pebble. They haven't had any rocks go down that way yet.
Throw 14-7. See
So
where
we haven't
we're
had a
at.
chance to see, actually, Richard, who is shot here. I think blue is sitting 1 for sure.
Yeah, I think Corey's trying to figure that out too.
Exactly.
And that's one of the things about how tight these shots are. You
Play it to
often
paper the
will
outside.
see it is so tight, even
How
when
we
they
looking?
clear everything out, that it's hard to figure that when you
Got a curl.
have the shot. So Maya Belway
Got a
shot
curl.
here, an opportunity to try to put some points up on the board to start this one on the first.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Maya, that
Track.
one just didn't curl.
Yep.
She couldn't get through the port, so it looks like it is a steal of at least 1.
Yeah, and I think based on how they're moving those stones
Wait.
around, I think the sense was pretty quick that was going to be. But we'll wait for the scores here to put up the score sheet. A good opportunity just to say how great a job all the
We'll
Curl
set it up.
BC folks are doing all week long. All the volunteers here at the Victoria Curling Club are doing. These events are really run by volunteers and the work that they have to do. It's new for a lot of these people to do these sort of jobs. So it's been impressive to see the work they've been doing all week.
Yeah, I believe if I heard, this is between Christmas and New Year's. Not the best time to ask for volunteers, but we had over 45 volunteers from the Victoria Curling Club come in and help us this week, and it's just been absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and it's going to be a fun stretch here for the curling season in Victoria, as the men's and women's provincials will be here at the end of the month over at Archie Browning and Esquimalt, and that's going to be obviously a really exciting event with trips to the Briar and the Scotties on the line there. So the points are up.
Oh, they
That's
did.
2 as we expected. A steal of 2 and a really, really good
So
start.
there is a clock. Yeah.
for
I was wondering if they'd put a clock up for the.
so
between
obviously,
ends, but
whenever you're
yeah,
going to
for-
steal, it's a good one.
Just take my time. Set it up.
So they're going to go, they're going to go a minute.
And welcome back. So as you see, there's 2 points up
Yeah.
on the board there, and obviously to start with a steal of 2 is a pretty
So
good
60,
start for Chester
65?
and Reese-Hansen.
Absolutely. That's exactly how they wanted to start this game they knew they were coming into this game without the hammer, and they wanted to put the pressure on this Belway team so early.
I like
but
it.
the thing about this game, Richard,
Okay, line only.
no lead is safe, and we know that.
Wait's
There's
good.
a lot of action going on here, and I want to mention no lead is safe because
Line only.
over on A, a little bit of a surprise here based on what we've seen. The Cotter and team down 4-0 to the Wilson Tardy team. So a little bit of a surprise there. But like you said, Melissa, anything can happen here in this. So a 4-0 lead, not great, but a lot can happen. So that's over on the Cotter rink over on A as we take a sort of look through what else is going on. But let's focus back here in on this one. So you're down 2-0. You mentioned a lot can happen. But, for Belway, what's the strategy as it's too early to scramble, I guess, right? You just keep playing your game.
It's too early to scramble. That's absolutely true. And what's key here now is Taylor Reese-Hansen makes a perfect shot to the freeze to the one in the back 12. It is crucial now that Maya Belway follow her down. She needs to set up an angle. And this is all important. When you're throwing that first rock of every end, the last thing you want to do is be heavy. And that is an absolutely perfect shot there by Maya.
Yeah, so you start to see that line developing here, and those rocks are going to start moving around a little bit. As more gets stacked on, where you end up in terms of being on the button is going to be so crucial. And then as we evolve through this end, you start picking towards those angles and trying to move rocks out either from the side or based on wherever the separation comes.
Absolutely. And so you saw where Taylor actually put the
Not
balloon
bad.
for that rock for Corey. About 3 inches into the 12-foot. That's how much this ice is curling. So huge kudos to Cody Hall, and his crew who have done an amazing job. As you said, weather's changing outside. It affects what happens in here, but unbelievable ice conditions this week.
I'm new to this sport. This is my first full year curling here at the Victoria Curling Club, and it's amazing how you see throughout, even playing, one game, how much it can change as conditions change outside or conditions change inside with people coming and going off the ice. And obviously, the players need to pick up on that pretty quickly because one mistake can be very costly, especially in mixed, as you leave one rock open and you can lead to the big scores in some of these ends.
Definitely. So big shot here for Dave Belway now. Corey Chester making a perfect freeze and actually over freezing, which is even better. So now this is all about Dave he doesn't want to be heavy here. So Maya's trying to get this one to curl to the center, but I think he's got too much weight on this and it's actually going to go right by everything. So just that little bit of mistake there from Dave Belway.
I can't hear a single word you're saying.
Okay.
Perfect way for a daughter to speak to her father. Can't hear you. But it comes back to that point of communication.
Absolutely.
Knowing what it feels like out of the hand. Without those sweepers there, you need to have a lot of communication to understand how that rock's coming out if you're at the other end of the ice.
Yeah, that's so true, Richard. And you have to think we do have 5 other games going on out here, so it's really loud in the curling club, as you probably know from your league curl. You have to be prepared to do hand signals or whatever you have to do to make sure that your partner can hear you.
Hard then, hard, never off.
My daughter can never hear me either. So.
Well, that's on purpose, right?
Yeah. So it looks like Corey's rock maybe a little bit further where he wanted it there. He tapped that red. What are we looking at in terms of the layout now?
Oh, looks like we have a technical timeout here for some reason, and we'll just have, looks like
microphone wire.
Microphone, yep.
And this is an interesting thing. I spoke to some of the players about that this week. Wearing a microphone is new for some of these players, and we're seeing more and more of this streaming and more of these types of events, but it's just another added piece to what you're thinking about when you're out there, that, people are watching. They're listening to what you're saying. For those who grow up curling, it's a little unnatural to have all the communication being broadcast so people can listen while you're doing it.
Oh, that's such a great point. And, we have that conversation a lot, especially the younger players. Like we have the U18s here obviously going on as well. And, to put microphones on them and, for the first time, it's like, what am I going to do? But, I was even talking to Connor Dean and he said we happened to have done 2 of his games this week and he had a microphone on. And now he's coming out not with a microphone. He goes to me this morning, he goes, I think I need a microphone just to balance me because he's been playing for a couple games with and gotten on a roll there. So kind of funny. So you're just trying to ensure that it is huge. It's huge for our game and it's such a great concept.
It is really the only sport I can think of where the players, you can listen to the way the players are communicating to each other out there, and it gives an incredible perspective.
Lower there.
It's a good chance just to have a listen here to the two of them communicating.
I don't think the 5.
Not terrible though.
Really?
Yeah, really.
It's on half of it.
I mean, if you want, we can do that, but
Whatever you like.
What was that other rock I just threw?
He's got to try to.
2? Okay.
You're right. We
Your
can
lap.
guard.
Yeah, the guard.
Yeah.
So a debate there between two shots. Talk about where they ended up here.
Yeah, good conversation there between Taylor and Corey. So
Yeah, I
the
just
first
don't
option
think-
is Corey thought he could actually hit
I
the
don't think
blue
it's
stone
worth it.
onto the red and actually spill the red out of the rings.
Whatever you see.
I actually agree with him. I think both reds would actually go if you nose it. There's enough room that you can nose it. But if you look at the scoreboard, they're up 2. They're really, really happy to force Belway to take a single point. So they're going to throw the easier of the 2 shots. They're going to throw a guard and make Belway have to make a very difficult shot on their next stone.
2/3.
Mine's good. Run in a little. Running. Whoa.
Tight.
It's falling.
Tight.
Whoa.
Still top 12.
You're high side of this one.
Top
Stay close.
12.
Stay close. Whoa. Straight. 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 Yep. Yep. Keep going.
And that's a perfect shot there by Corey.
Not
And
top
what they were
12.
trying to do
No, I
there,
was
Richard,
trying to
is
get a rub
actually
off
bring
that
that in
one and
another foot or 2. The reason why is, as we're looking at Maya putting the
Yeah,
broom
I-
down here, they were trying to avoid the ability
Last.
for Belway to run that redstone into the rings. So another foot there would have been a perfect shot, but still a 3 out of 4.
Still lots of weight here.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Almost-
Falling.
Yeah, looking
Thin,
to hit
thin.
almost all of that,
Yep.
but unfortunately does not do so. A little bit of a bonus rolling that one into the rings, though. That's something that Reese-Hansen and Chester will have to think about.
I'll go with that angle.
I know.
So we gotta just hit.
So obviously lots of action going on all across.
Well, we can
the
show
rink
them
here.
a
So
port.
we have a score in the Jensen Dang Bulls Dean
Yeah, we can
match
show them a
here, and,
port.
Jensen Dean
Do that,
scoring
so we
2
just
in the
guard
first,
this.
and so they're up
if we just
2-0
rip
there.
it?
It's
That's
been exciting to
actually,
watch.
yes.
This Dean Bulls team has
Yes.
been in a lot of exciting
Like
games this week. You
where
mentioned a few of them
she could
here on
try
the
this one
stream.
for
Like they have
2?
been in some close
'Cause you
ones
don't
and
see- 'cause
have
7
really come
always goes,
down to
so
the
it's
last
only for
shot
2
and
then,
extra
right?
ends in some cases in
Yeah.
some of
If
those
they
ones
try and do
earlier.
anything with
Yeah,
it.
they've had a great
That's the
week,
only
but as
thing
you
they
say,
do.
s- almost
This way?
trying to
Yeah. Okay.
be challenged for every single point
You
they
like
get
that?
on the board
Yeah, I
here,
think
and
so.
it looks like another one coming up
Was like
here as
normal?
we just take a peek over at their sheet. So another big
Yeah.
shot here for Emily Bowles on her
Yeah.
sheet.
Okay. Yeah, good normal.
Yep.
But having a look at this, Richard, it looks like Corey and Taylor are just having a look. So with that rock rolling into the top 8, it actually puts it in a position of scoring. I know it's only about 5th, 6th shot, but you never know with mixed doubles. So what they're going to do, I think, is they're going to try and remove that red stone and maybe just roll over to the center line and avoid hitting the blue one in the back of the 8-foot. And if they roll their shooter out, that's okay too. So it's going to be very difficult for them, for Belway to get 2 points. So that's their
only
goal
for
here.
one.
Try and force
Right?
Belway to take a single point here in the second end.
Queen. Yep. Hard!
Trying to keep it out. You don't want to over curl.
So half of the job done there. They cleared that one out, but lost the one on the back, as you mentioned. They tried to keep that one around, but it's still. We'll see what the lineup looks like here. It looks like red is shot,
Shot.
but
Yeah, thanks.
it's going to be tight to get in there to
see.
try to add a second one, and we'll see where they end up.
Yeah, there's a good look at it on the
Smile.
overhead. You actually have to throw the intern
Just
even
like
to come
up.
close to getting to the button for the second point.
Just a board.
So I like what Dave's calling here. Is really a hit and roll. That's really your only play right now. Right now you're safe. You if you throw a nice board weight, which is what he's called, you're not going to hurt yourself with that one that's shot stone, and you want to make sure you secure the one. So Maya's going to throw a board weight, try and cross that blue stone, about
That's
half a
ninja.
stone, and roll towards the button
Half a rock.
for hopefully get her
Yep,
two.
yep. Yes! Hard!
She's close. Oh, so close. What a
Red.
try.
Very, very close, because if that's a little bit tighter, that blue pops out, and all of a sudden you're talking
Good throw.
about
Didn't run.
3.
Oh.
But scoring the
Another
one
inch.
there, and that makes it 2-1. But a good chance there, and no real damage, but missing a little bit of an opportunity.
Right.
One red.
Yeah, we got the good handle on the speed. I just a couple in a row, it becomes
Yeah, just like
really
we've
hot
seen all
again,
week.
just like all week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just remember that.
Great conversation there between Taylor and Corey, just planning what the next end's all about with the hammer here in the third end.
Another chance to do a quick update from around the rink as we take a look in front of us here. Jensen Dang did add an extra one in the second, so it's 3-0 against Bulls Dean. These are mixed doubles games as well, and so there's 4 of them out on the ice now. Cotter did score their 2 points, but they trail 4-2 to Wilson Tardy down at the other end of the ice here on A. And we've got
we got 40 seconds. Hold on.
B, the other set of
Okay, we're just to wait till the
Bulls
timer's
sisters.
done.
Let's take a look
Right.
at what we're
And
doing
then
in
we
terms
can
of
go.
the score, and it's
Waiting for Wade.
oh, it looks
I
like
think
it's
it should be pretty.
Turn your throw.
4-0
Okay.
for
I think it should be
Probably
pretty
same
good.
weight as first end, right?
Click the road
It should be
there.
at least that. At least.
Blue Wenzik up
should
4-0.
be all there.
They scored 2 and then another 2 in the second as
Okay,
they're up
we're good.
on Bulls. DeBerry in that one. So, again, a lot can happen quickly, but, a few. The Bulls family, I think, is probably sweating early on here upstairs as they
Pretty
watch
close.
the 2 girls
Maybe
competing on different sheets.
Little out there.
Yeah, I was talking to Susan Wilson, the mother of the
Really
2
good
Wilson
girl.
sisters. So one's out there right now,
Oh,
one will
yeah.
be playing later this afternoon, or sorry, this evening. And of course, Bulls has 2 daughters out here and a niece as well playing in the U18. So pretty busy for the Bulls and Wilson's families.
Yeah, it's neat. How much curling is a family affair. Anyone who's been down here this week at the curling club has noticed.
By how
Big
much?
gatherings, loved
They're half in the
ones.
four.
It's a neat part of this sport is bringing families together and
Freeze
long lines
Okay,
of
corner
families, sons and parents and daughters and cousins, and it's a unique part of all of this.
Oh, it's just incredible. It's such a small community when you talk about it. I was talking to a couple people today about just the uniqueness and the special
I was a little
relationships
soft
and
and
friendships
line's
that
okay.
especially the mixed doubles group
Line's fine.
have. It's just
running,
so
running.
fun to be around.
Yeah, and
He'll go around.
sometimes you'll have cases here where teammates will be playing
You
teammates.
betcha.
You
They
betcha.
may be together during
Back
the
button.
season, but for a few days they're competitors. And I think for sure with this doubles, as we get later in the tournament, you're going to see a lot of that.
You
as
got
We
it.
have some of these semis and finals that may even pit teammates against teammates, and then in a few weeks' time in a Squimalt, they're together to try to win a provincial
55.
championship.
Exactly, and that's only a couple weeks away, so it's going to be an interesting transition.
Just a sliver heavy.
All right, so let's take a look at what we're set up here. So we've got 2 blue there, but one just off the tee line a little bit. What's the setup telling you here in 3?
So what happened here is Belway with the first
Not
rock
shopping.
of this third stone. They came up a little bit light for
Come on, they
Maya.
gotta
She
roll
wanted
off,
to
we're in
be
big
right
trouble.
down, of course, to the face of that stone in the back 4, but she came up a bit light. But you know what? That's in a perfect position. If she needs to use it later in the end, she can. For Taylor Reese-Hansen, she was just a teeny bit heavy and didn't quite get to the center line, and that's the key. You want to be touching that center line. So great opportunity here now for Dave
Line's
Belway
fine.
to
Tons of
actually
room.
come down to those 2 blue stones. He can
Tons
tap
of
them a
room.
little if he wants. But
Out
if he
there.
can ever get to the face of that, that's the key here. Get to the
Yep,
face. It's
yep.
all about the line first and the weight second.
Right to it.
And there's Maya trying to work this over. This looks absolutely perfect.
Hard, my heart. There
If
is.
she can ever get right to the face of those, what a shot. What a brush by Maya and a great shot by Dave.
Yeah, so sitting shot now, you can see a little bit of separation between those 2 stones, but as you mentioned, as good as it gets, and get a sense of what Corey's thinking here.
I was thinking the run, but
What's that?
sure. Okay, draw.
I mean, the run, you can go this way, but little tap even.
All right.
So 2 options here, Richard. Corey's looking, from a more defensive with the hammer, being a little bit more defensive. You play the run, try and spill some stuff out of the forefoot. You have hammer, and you really want to make sure that you score. However, Taylor's thinking, you know what, let's go, let's go, let's go. So if you can angle, not be on top of it, but
Little
angle,
light.
corner angle to that rock that was
Running
just
nice.
thrown by Dave Belway,
Not
you might
curling,
have a chance
not
to score
curling.
a couple of points this end.
Oh,
and
yeah,
that's
it's all
the
there.
risk versus reward that we talk about.
And that'd be similar to what we saw
Small
in the last
bump.
end. Use
Yeah, I
that
don't even
rock
know if we want
and
to, though.
come off the side of it to take some things
Exactly.
out as we get later on.
Yeah, the only thing you don't want to do when you're ever freezing is
Okay, good. I
bounce
think
off,
that's
and that's
almost
perfect.
worked.
An inch is okay, but anything more than an inch actually is detrimental to you.
Yeah.
So
I know.
Belway,
To be-
that stone still sitting
I
shot,
should've told
but
you, I
lots
had
of
15 and a
blue
half.
right around it in
Right.
the house. So what sort of options are we looking at for Belway here?
Well, it's quite interesting actually. So normally you'll see rocks keep going, keep trying to pile in, but I've actually seen this in two ends now. We've seen a couple of guards. We don't see a lot of guards in mixed doubles because you're trying to get multiple point ends. But these teams are so close and they're so tight, and it's such a great game thus far. Is they're trying to hold their opposition to a single. So they're very happy blocking what's going on in the forefoot and trying to get that one steal. They don't want to be too deep here, but now plan B is to get to the inside of that blue stone. And that's a phenomenal shot right there.
Good.
Yeah, so red still sitting shot.
Got a lot
Moved the
off that
blue a
one.
little bit there, but lots of red in the way.
Wasn't going to be heavy.
Yeah, not a lot of great angles for blue right now if you're Reese-Hansen Chester, and Belway really setting up nice here without the hammer in the third end.
Yeah, that's not bad. I just don't see them going. I don't think you have enough air.
You're right, and it just stuffs into there.
I think you're just doing this.
So when they talk about air, what is she referring to?
So when you're trying to hit a
we're in
stone,
trouble.
and there's a guard out front, for
Even
example,
though, like
you
a sliver
want to
high to try and stay here, and if you can
you
kill
want to
both
make
of
sure that
them.
there's air on the other side behind, but before the guard. So if it's edge on edge, you're never going to get the inside roll. However, if there's a little air, which maybe there's about an inch, which I think is okay, you can actually nose that stone or a little bit on the inside. So his goal right now for Corey, hit this one nose or slightly low side towards the center line and try and spill both of those red ones out. I think we're going to have some heat on this one. So whether or not Corey can jump up, nope, he's just going to let it go. And I don't think Taylor likes it. No, you don't want it. Well, actually it worked out not too bad, but he would have loved to get to nose of that one.
Much better. Good throw.
Okay, or do we make a play on that?
That,
So a bit of a plan B, got that one stone out of there. There's a little bit of space, but
I don't mind that.
Belway
Just like
describing
right
they're just
here.
looking at doing this thing again, just like Dave just threw it, and that second time a little bit of
Well, I
familiarity
think last
to
ice.
Belway.
Exactly, and you look at those two red stones,
Just
they're
a
in
normal,
absolutely
I think
perfect
not real
position.
hard.
Whether they're shot or not, I know one is,
Just a
it
10
doesn't matter.
or
They are
9.
fully buried above the tee line behind that center guard. So that is fantastic. So right now they're going to deal with a couple of these blue ones, try and get another one in behind there. Again, although it's awesome to steal, the goal is to force your
Curl.
opposition to a single
Curl.
point.
Curl.
Trying to get this to curl,
On the
get
blue.
the inside of the blue one. And he makes all three move out of that 4-foot area. What a fantastic shot by Dave Belway.
So it's changing the strategy a little bit here, it seems, for Reese-Hansen and Chester. When you're staring at three stones, what's the strategy now?
Well, you got to find a
Pretty
way
good.
to score. So right now, there really is not a good way to score 1 point here. And of course, you're looking at three
I got an inch
opposition
of air.
stones. So you have 2 rocks remaining. So I think
Control.
for,
Okay.
so we're listening to
Try and
Taylor
get
right now. Here's a
as
good
you
look at
can.
it.
Okay. 10-5.
Yeah, great stone there. Clearing two of them, or one of them out entirely, one little trouble, and let's take a look at Corey.
Yeah, so Corey trying to throw it a little bit down weight this time. Not the same peel heavy shot that he threw in his first one. His goal here, he needs to get 7/8 low or 7/8 towards the center line in order to get a roll under. You just have to get past the guard, and he's going to be pretty darn close.
Great.
What a fantastic shot.
So jammed up a little bit there.
Great
Still
throw.
red sitting
Good
shot, but in a really good
Right,
spot.
they make that little
Absolutely,
tap.
best he could do. So now Belway,
it's it.
we'll listen to them talk. They need to decide how they're going to keep their opposition to getting one or steal.
We just play this little tap.
Oh, it doesn't help.
For the guard, they got the come.
They were going to tap this out. Get one.
We come right back here.
Ooh, that's a good call.
Yeah, we can get buried
Yeah,
here.
let's do this right here.
All right, they got the decision here. It seems like a little bit of
thought
a
it would.
draw into that pocket behind the Reds.
Take
Is
it
that
over
fair?
a little bit.
Exactly.
Just to
So
give an
great
angle, but
conversation
clip the
there
5
between
and now
Dave
they're
and Maya.
overlapping.
They're trying to decide
clip the
how
5
they can
first?
prevent the
No,
opposition,
no,
right? So
when it-
they're sitting one.
Yes, it
Yeah.
You
touched
can't
it
really
first.
guard. If you guard, maybe you could get the result that you're looking for. But if they actually draw on the in-turn or their clockwise
Outside 8
side
for
and
sure.
get to the back
It'll
4
come
or
off there
back
hard.
button, they could be
Be a little
line 2
slower here. I
and
think we
really
haven't
put the
thrown
pressure
anything
on Taylor Reese-Hansen.
And they're predicting,
Yeah, but nothing.
Belway, that Reese-Hansen and Chester are going to try to hit that hit to pop one of them out.
Correct.
And if their red is sitting there, then it's going to jam, and it's not going to be the sort of shot
Just
that they're hoping for.
Correct. Yeah. Right now they can actually hit that top red onto red and get the one that's sitting on the side. So
Okay, you can curl now.
not hearing too much today. The weight looks really good here, and the line looks fantastic. If they can ever get it by, I think it's a little light. Little light.
Probably just that.
Tap it. Okay.
But it's like,
Have to get as close to nose. We just got to get a piece of the button here.
yeah, like, but do we want to move that?
This is my last one.
I know, I'm just thinking like, there's a
No.
couple ways to play. Just straight
No,
tap?
straight tap,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
We could also probably draw here, but
Tap is good.
yeah, I'm seeing this.
So back here, like
Just thinking back 4.
back 4, okay.
We don't need to move it far, right? We just need to sliver the button.
Okay.
So good conversation there, but as Belway predicted, they're just going to play that tap, it looks like, just off blue and see if they can bump it down there to score one.
Yeah, and Richard, this has to be communicated as a way down. They called back 4 weight. If you get to the nose of that blue stone with back 4 weight, it might go too far. They're throwing
Same
back
weight I
4
gave
weight
you on
because
my
they
first,
think they
eh?
might rub off the red
Yes.
one, which will take a lot of
That's
weight
right.
off the stone and roll into the button. So there's got to be some communication here between Taylor and Corey as this rock comes down.
We know where it is. If we're a sliver heavy, we got to hit it a little high, right?
Got it. Back 8. Back
Okay,
4.
well then.
Weight's good.
If we're heavy, we got to hit it high.
Back 4.
Clean, whoa, clean, yep. Whoa, whoa, clean. Curl. Straight. Straight.
As long as the weight's good.
Maybe we want to hit harder. Yep.
Oh, so didn't get it there, and that's the one red. They're clearing it out pretty quick, but just didn't get that stone where it needed to be.
Yeah, it just needed another foot of weight probably to get right on the button. So it is a steal of
Sorry,
one.
had to get you to curl it a little bit.
Yeah. It's all right.
Weight would have been fine, hey? Like
Yeah.
never, okay.
It was fine for just not
Straight tap.
touching the red. Yeah.
Yeah, straight tap.
Just lost so much weight after it
Yeah.
clipped it. But.
Shoot.
Okay.
So a few things they're describing that you and I spoke about. First off, they're chasing. They were in a bad spot there. They tried to make something happen. It didn't work out. And then you described the A and B scenario, and they clearly got caught up a little bit by the ice there, being a bit slower than they had anticipated, and the stone didn't end up where they were hoping for. So 2-2, we'll be back in a minute here.
Yeah, you can check that out. It's close, not quite. Jesse's gonna throw. Look out, Karen Masson. Got it.
There to Jesse King, who scores again.
At West Shore Motorsports Park.
Crossing the box for Parmar, and she's done it. The opening goal.
And welcome back to the Victoria Curling Club. Richard Zussman alongside Melissa Saligo as we're getting ready. Number 4 is underway here. 2-2 in the feature match. Belway against Chester and Reese-Hansen. Close so far. It's been interesting watching the Reese-Hansen Chester team through the week. They've been in a lot of really close ones. 2-2 records so far. And, you know, speaking to Corey afterward, the expectation was to win all 4. So this is how close it is here. You can curl well and still not come out on top, and now it really counts. These are elimination games. Pool play is over, and you need to make it count in these big games.
Oh, you couldn't have said that better.
Yeah, always
There's
gotta
so many
curl.
great teams here. We've had 20 teams here, as we mentioned, for the mixed doubles, and it has been so close. It's been a battle. At one point, we thought we were going to have about 3 or 4 tiebreakers last night, so that didn't happen.
That makes your job hard.
So yeah, you know, again, this is each team is just so good, and you just really have to bring your A game
Good judge.
during each and every game. As you said, it's a single knockout from here on in.
3 other knockout matches going on across the curling club here. Over on A, Wilson Tardy up 4-2 over Cotter as they play in the third. We should get a score for the third pretty soon over there. And then in the Wu Wenzik Bulls DeBeery game, it's 4-2 for Wu Wenzik. They scored 2 in both the first and the second Bulls, adding 2 on in the third to make that 4-2 there. And in front of us right here at the club, Bulls Dean scoring 3 in the third to tie that one up against Jensen and Dang. So let's take a look at the setup we've got here as we see Dave Belway's first coming down the ice with Maya leading the charge here on the sweep, and you can get a sense of what we're looking at so far. We'll see where the stone ends up, but it's a pretty familiar sight as we start seeing these stacked up on the
Absolutely, and Maya Belway makes no mistake on her first one, as you can see, putting it right to the back button in front of that blue stone. Unfortunately for Taylor, Reese-Hansen was about 4 or 5 feet heavy, and you can see that rock just in the back 12 foot. So another fantastic shot there by Dave Belway. And now you know that Corey and Taylor are feeling a little bit of heat, and this is why we're playing the run back here on the center rock. They don't want it. There's nothing really you can do with those 2 rocks that are perfectly on the button, so you got to now try and open up the space.
Great throw.
What a great shot there by Corey Chester. Yes, there's still a red stone, opposition stone there, but my oh my, he got 2 of them gone.
Easy
Yeah, so
game,
open things way up here, got everything off the center line, and now, you know, in essence, we're starting fresh here. As I guess the expectation for Belway would be just to stack one up and start trying to build that line again.
Exactly the same shot. Here's a great shot. Corey threw, Corey swept, and got 2 of those red stones going. And most importantly, Richard, move that blue stone off the back of the red one. That's what we call unlocking. You don't want to leave those locked because there's nothing you can do when you throw weight at them. They just jam, right? So chance here now for Dave to throw the exact same shot to the top of the button if he can get it there. They're both brushing this one.
Yeah, so obviously a bit light, needed the help and just can't get it there.
Yeah. So it opens up a door, small door here for Corey Chester to try and do exactly the same thing. Is forced to throw the other side of the ice now, so they haven't thrown one here yet for a couple of ends. So just going to make sure that he has an adjustment here, probably talk to Taylor about the weight, and would love to get to the face of that red stone.
Curling early. Curling really early.
Catching him off guard a little bit with
Where?
that early curl.
Pretty close.
Yeah, on these kind of ice
Wait,
conditions, the
Yep,
last
that's
thing
it.
you want to do is have to sweep right away. If you sweep right away, it goes sideways, and that's the
Yep,
problem.
word.
You have to be out to the broom. You have to be positive to the broom. And you have to try and keep it out there as long as you can before you begin your sweep. And what a terrific shot by Corey Chester.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
So landing it straight on the button and more importantly,
that
so
one
tight
that's
to
not
that
tight
red
was
stone there and
16
making it
set.
very hard to move.
What?
Yeah, terrific
red
call
one
there
that
by
stopped
Taylor. Gave the perfect information. I watched the game of Corey and Taylor's last night, I believe it was, and Corey just ripped his little heart out. He actually had to take a break partway through the game.
We're okay. Whoa.
So chance here now for Dave to get right to the face of this. He doesn't want to bounce off in any way. If he can get to the face, the scoring area, the button area is very, very small, and Reese-Hansen and Chester will have to figure out how to get to. And right now, there's not a lot of room.
No, so just a little bit of space as you can see there,
You're
but
throwing, I don't have to sleep.
that's not enough room to really make
What are you
something
here for?
because,
You
you know,
said last
depending on the
game.
angle you come at it here, that that can cause all sorts of problems if you go back in the blue and all of a sudden red becomes shot stone.
So you hear Taylor talking about top 8. There's a couple of reasons for that. The key here is they don't want to fully bury the stone. They actually want to be able to show half of the stone, this blue stone that Corey's throwing. The reason for that is they need to be able to use it on their next one. Otherwise, it's going to be 1 point on the board. If you can keep it kind of out in the open,
Okay, line's good.
Team Belway will have to make a decision. Are they going to guard
Top,
it? Are they going to
tight
try
guard.
something on the other side?
Very
Whatever
nice.
they're going to do.
Top
So
12.
Whoa.
Top 12.
Whoa.
you don't want this
Stop
too
biting
deep. You
12.
just
Okay.
want to set up the angle. This is
Just
all
clean,
about
just
angle,
clean.
not about getting
Just
shot
clean.
or second shot.
Good throw, Corey.
And a big
just gonna be
breath
John's
from Corey
side.
Chester there. You mentioned the sweeping. In terms of the angles, is this lined up where they were hoping for it?
Yeah, I think that rock is pretty much fully open, and that is there's a good look at it. You can probably see
don't
about
really have
3/4,
anything on
and that
that.
should be enough to give them a chance to run it on their next one if they get the opportunity. And Belway needs to find a way
the
here
draw. Throw a
to
guard over
defend
here.
against
This
that,
way.
and that's
Okay.
exactly what he's going to do.
This
He's going
way.
to throw the guard and say, you're not going to be
I
able
think
to
we
do that.
can go like middle of 8.
But they got to go way out. Just throw. Waste of time here.
So I just want to make another note, Richard, is you'll see where the broom is. It's just outside the 4 foot. So what's happening here from Maya, she actually has to cross the center. What we see a lot of the times is this is a completely new path. The mixed doubles teams do not play this very often at all. So the weight is a total guess. So we
Check the
see a lot
blue.
of
Yep.
rocks go light and a lot of rocks go heavy. So
Great.
it's really important here to try and figure out what that weight looks like.
You could also get a sense there she wasn't confident in
No,
that shot at
absolutely
all,
not.
and her dad tells her to hurry up, and
Yeah.
there it adds extra pressure to her. But you could just tell from the way they were communicating,
You
she
got
was
it.
not confident with that shot she was throwing.
Yeah,
and
it's-
right out of her hand, you could tell that she was not happy.
Exactly, and it's a tough shot. I mean, it looks easy. It's a guard, but it's a tough shot because it's a completely different path that you just don't play.
Yeah, and balancing out for many of these players their seasons as they work their way through their men's or women's team and then back to doubles, and it's a very different game.
So
And going back and
75,
forth
eh?
in some cases weekend to weekend
Yeah.
as they gear up for the provincials, but it makes it challenging too to make those adjustments and throw stones that you haven't thrown for much of the season. Again, this is where the advantage is for Chester and Reese-Hansen, having played 14 events together. The Belway, I think, just 2 events together this year other than provincial. So there's obviously a difference there in getting these sort of
Okay,
shots
I
in.
felt like I was there.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, and you have
Running
to
like
think,
I'm
we
there.
talk
Whoa,
about,
whoa.
I know there's a little bit of a curling stigma about lack of fitness. There is no lack of fitness out there right now. These athletes are incredibly fit. You have to be to play mixed doubles. So chance here, a very difficult shot here for a draw for 2. Can she touch the button, can get by? Oh, so cool. Weight was perfect.
Yeah, so just crash a little bit there, scoring the 1 for blue, so it makes it 3-2 for Chester and Reese-Hansen. And as you mentioned, the key here is trying to score a bunch when you have that hammer, and limiting your opponent to 1 is in essence a win here as we work our way towards the 5th end. And they're going to do a sweep, and we'll be back after the break.
I was never worried about line.
That has to be the most Canadian thing I've ever seen.
Well, maybe if he was also eating a poutine.
And drinking maple syrup.
And he's also
A curler!
Guys, you know I've never actually been curling before.
And you call yourself a Canadian?
I'm sorry.
There's more than 1,000 curling facilities in Canada. Be a good Canadian and find one near you today.
And welcome back to the Victoria Curling Club. Richard Zussman, Melissa Saligo, we're in the break here. 8 ends we're playing through this tournament, so after 4 they take a break, take care of the ice, work through, so it gives us a chance to have a peek around the other rinks that are going on so far today. So this is the round of 12 as you described. The winners here go into the quarterfinals, so all the way down on A. Wilson Tardy putting up another 2 on the board, so it's 6-3. Wilson Tardy against Cotter. Jim Cotter and his daughter come into this one as the highest ranked team in the province, and they're in so far in a fight here as they trail Jordan Tardy's team. We obviously don't have eyes on it, but it's 6-3. Again, a lot can happen, but that Jordan Tardy, Kayla Wilson team has looked really good this week too, and this is what we're getting at. With 12 teams left, all of these teams are really, really good, and anything can happen in any one of these matches.
Oh, I mean, you couldn't have said that better. It's unbelievable. And, you have to think all these names that you're mentioning, these teams play on, as you said, men's or women's teams as well. They're all playing in the BC men's and women's provincials very shortly in a couple weeks' time here in Esquimalt in Victoria, BC. So there is so much experience on the ice right now. It gives me chills just watching it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's neat. The Jim Cotter story, for those who know curling, one of the greats in this province's history. You just look at the trophy and you see his name so many times in a row as a BC champion, a runner-up at the Brier, runner-up at the Olympic trials. And to come back to curl to do it with his daughter is really neat. And it's one of those things that and I know his daughter's competing as well. Is her team in the provincials? Do you know?
They are not this year. No, they're not.
But just to see them together is
incredible.
And Jordan Tardy obviously has had so much success with his brother Tyler and Sterling Middleton, who we'll see later on here, and Alex Horvath, who we'll see later on here, and part of Tardy family that's had so much success recently in curling in this country. His brother Tyler curling with Kevin Cooey's rink, and a lot of success from that family, and across not just here in BC but now across the country, and they've had so much success globally as well. So lots of big names that we're seeing across the sheets. The other thing that's going on today, and we'll have it for you later, are the under 18 girls championship. So we'll pop up the scores there. We have the semis going on right now as I navigate my way through the Curl BC website. And the semi, we had the play down game last night, the tiebreaker to get into this. So it's been a lot of curling for some of these teams. The art rink out here late last night, right up, I think they walked off the ice last night at 10:30, and they're right back at it today. So it's been a lot of curling, and for some of these players, this for them is pretty substantial in terms of getting some games out on the ice. So I got the scores up. Bartlett Rempel 1-1 after 2, and a quick look at the other one here is our feature match is back underway here in the 5th. We have Argent Fitzgibbons 2-0 Fitzgibbons up as they pick up a steal in the 2nd, and the winners of those two will square off tonight at 7 o'clock, and we'll do that one as well. So obviously it's been really fun to watch the juniors play, both on the girls and the boys sides. Some really, really great curling.
You just said it so well. It's unbelievable. As I said, U18's out here, mixed doubles out here, and just both groups of curlers being able to talk to each other and hang out with each other. It's just been such just an electric atmosphere here at the Victoria Curling Club. We are so fortunate to have this going on this week, and we've been very privileged to have all these teams here. So I believe there was 38 teams in total that started here at the beginning of the week.
We'll focus in again on this one in a minute, but before we get there, you mentioned that being able to all be together. And it's an incredible thing for some of these junior players to watch as we describe these seasoned players who have gone through juniors. I tried to count it up. I think we have a dozen plus junior champions that are now playing in mixed doubles. We have, Jim Cotter, as we described. We have others who will be playing and hoping to win the provincials. And for the juniors to see, the way they prepare, the way they think about the game, even just the way that they all interact and talk about strategy.
Go ahead then.
Has to go a long way in sort of developing your curling as a junior player as you watch some of these more seasoned players prepare.
Oh, exactly. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better learning curve for yourself if you're a U18. And some of these U18
Not a bad
teams are like
spot.
14, 15, 16 years old, and they're seeing their curling idols right on the sheet next to them. How incredible is that? Like, it's absolutely amazing.
So a little bit of a different setup than we've seen for the last few sheets. We have a lot of that work along the center line here, but they're spread out a little bit. What challenge does that bring forward as we see Dave Belway get prepared to throw his first?
So with Dave Belway, you can see that they have the hammer here in this fifth end, and both teams would have a chance to talk in the fourth end break. They would have a chance to talk about the tactics.
Whoa.
And as I said earlier,
hang it.
both teams playing a little bit more on the defensive side. They're not really throwing the big shots, trying to get things moving and trying to get set up more. But really, both teams are playing so well, and that's the difficulty here. So Dave's trying to, he doesn't like those two blue stones sitting at the front. Unfortunately, by the way he hit it there, if we get a chance to look at this again, he was trying to get more to the face of that blue stone, and unfortunately, by the way he hit it, the blue one actually rolls back, I think, on shot rock in front of that red one. So that was just a little bit of an, here's a good look at it here. You can see Maya trying to get it to curl, and if it just curls 2 or 3 or 4 more inches, it might have spilled out to the side and not really rolled back onto the frozen in front of that red one. So bit of a difficulty there for Belway.
Yeah, just mentioning her broom not really being able to get it on the angle she wanted to.
Should be good right now.
Okay.
And they were looking to hit the face there, right?
Correct.
Running a little.
Yes. Yeah. So a big shot here for Corey Chester. The last thing you want to do on this shot, the tolerance. We talk about tolerance a lot, and the tolerance here is on the light side. So they're trying to throw this about top 8, but you can tell now plan B, because it has the more weight on it, is to come right to the face. Fantastic plan B shot and great communication between the two players.
Yeah, so understanding how that ice is going and that speed of the rock, and then communicating, and you heard them there communicate around where they thought it was going to end up. And we're talking about communication here, and we can hear them very well. They just can't hear each other so well on the ice.
You got that.
We can play this.
So Maya and Dave going to have a conversation here. This is really, really important. This is that all-important third rock of a 5-rock end here.
Top blue one.
See, we can
hit
hear what they're going to go on about.
Well, then they unlock it, and then we could have a shot at it. They're laying 1 right now, or 2?
1.
Freeze it then?
I think, like, take the other turn.
Just for kind of...
Take this turn.
I can't throw the out. Gotta throw the in. I can get to the inside of it.
Okay.
But it doesn't help us.
No, it doesn't help us. So I'm saying they're all right here. We freeze on this side.
So we can run
That
something
doesn't-
in at it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You just get a sense of the communication of a team, a father-daughter, not as many games, and there's some indecisiveness when it comes to their decisions they're making when they look at what they're seeing in front of them.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, they're in a little bit of a predicament right now, and they're just trying to figure out what the best way to get out of it is. So Dave didn't like the out turn, which the turn he ended up throwing.
No, and something's going on with that handle. It does not look like it's...
Sit.
I think he might be a tiny bit heavy here, and so it's going to run straighter if it's heavy, and that's unfortunately not what you want to do for Dave Belway. That's not a good position for that rock.
You like that?
They were trying to set themselves up in front of the blue stone, or at least frozen to one of the blue stones, so if he could ever hit it, everything would go sideways. So bit of a mistake there by Dave. So now a chance for Reese-Hansen and Chester to take advantage of that mistake.
Yeah.
They could all go if we, I think so, yeah. I'll be close, I was.
Like same throw. Same throw.
You bet.
I'm going to give you a sliver less
I'm
though.
in.
So they're going to throw, as you heard, the same thing that Corey just threw, and try to stack that one up on the blue again and bump that line just a little bit back. But, have that line set up as you see the guard still there to help protect that.
Exactly. And for Corey, he actually wants us to be right to the nose or slightly away from the center line. And the reason for that is if Belway takes a shot at it, all the angles will go towards the center, and that will get rid of the red stones at the back. If for any reason you over curl, you're going to be in a little bit of trouble if you're... Well, you can see Corey's face is maybe a little bit heavy here. But you see that everyone's staying away from that other side of the sheet because there's not really a good way to angle yourself in to freeze to those stones at the moment. So Corey working hard to get this to at least the center, but I think he's pretty a little bit heavy. He really wanted that to be to the face.
So spills it out a little bit. Is that going to do him any harm having that stone separate a little bit, or is that largely out of the conversation now?
Well, I think that Team Belway might be able to use it at least to get rid of one, if not two. But because he pushed it ever so slightly, Dave has a chance now to actually get into that pocket. And I'm going to assume that those two blue stones are pretty buried behind the center guard, so you may not be able to see them, and that means that Chester Reese-Hansen may not be able to use them. So if Dave puts us in a fantastic position right on the tee line, they might be setting themselves up here for a potential score or 2 points.
And a lot more confidence in that shot. You know, they made that decision quick, and Belway got right in there and executed it here. And we'll see where it ends up.
Curl.
Mine is great.
What do you want?
Right here, bring it in.
Right on the tee line is perfect here. What a shot by Dave Belway. Absolutely perfect.
And finds that pocket as you described, so has the protection there of the rocks behind it and sitting right there. And it looks like it's so tough to tell, but
I think it's shot rock. Like, incredible shot. No pressure on that one, I tell you.
and we described that, you know, they haven't played together a lot, but still the Belway team has a lot of experience. Dave Belway has been curling with his team all season long. They were in a big event that was in Penticton a few weeks ago and have been, I think, 4 stops this year. And so they've, you know, he's been out on the ice a lot. It's just not out with his daughter. But there's a natural chemistry that comes when you play with family, and so you may be able to offset some of that lack of playing together as a team this season.
Yeah, and I can imagine that these two, you know, have had a lot of time to practice and train. And have maybe had some practice games or whatever because they weren't able to get on the circuit as much. And it's showing, it's showing this week, it's showing today. They are just making some phenomenal shots.
It could go bad.
What if you throw him heater?
So last shot here for Taylor Reese-Hansen in this 5th end. Not a lot of options here, Richard. It looks like she's trying to freeze to that red stone that was just thrown by Dave Belway.
Little light, yeah, go ahead.
And the reason for that is she's trying to get into a position where there's no opportunity for Belway to get a second point. They're okay with forcing them to one, but they really don't want to give them
hard,
two.
You got it, hard!
Looks like it's past the guard there.
Yeah, it's almost over curling.
Yeah. Doesn't do him a whole lot of helps in there. So is the hope to get it much further down the ice? Is it just a little bit light
I don't really know if it's
too?
there.
Yeah, just about, I would say about 6-7 feet light. They would love to have gotten to the front of that red stone that Dave just threw. So now it's a matter is can Belway find a way to get 2 here?
The only thing I see is this.
Yeah, their stone is so tucked in there that moving those blues
You made a good shot.
could cause problems they don't want to even explore.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's happening here. They're going to draw away from the pile. They're not going to do anything to jeopardize that 1 point. So this is a good option. We talked about this a couple of ends ago. This is a situation where you don't throw this very often. So Maya's just throwing kind of draw weight just to see the path, see the weight, get some information, some data that she can put in the back of her mind.
Yeah, and it's, I think going to crush on these guards here. Nope.
We're kind of being...
See?
And luckily, I think with that weight, she touched that top one and didn't do any damage.
Yeah, that could have been,
Thinking about
score
the
1 and we're tied up at 3, but, exploring things sometimes. If they had tapped that blue that was in the house, that could have caused all sorts of problems in the house. But that's the one, ties it up at 3 through 5 and switches over the hammer, and a really good back and forth. But the Dave Belway shot, as you described, it was clearly the shot of the end there, as he was able to find that pocket and settle it right in there and make it hard to move. We'll be back after the break.
The game with the ice, and the rocks, and the sweeping, and the yelling. Each game starts with a handshake. Then, 2 teams of 4 people take turns throwing 44-pound stones down a sheet of ice. Each team throws 8 rocks, and the team closest to the center after all the rocks are thrown will score the points. This process is repeated for 6 to 10 rounds until one team is victorious. It's just that simple. Or is it?
It is not simple, that's for sure. Richard Zussman, Melissa Saligo here at the Victoria Curling Club. We are feature match today, Belway against Chester and Reese-Hansen. As we get ready, this is the group of 12, 4 matches ongoing, and we've been updating you on the other scores throughout. And that Cotter match has turned, as we've described. Cotter putting up 3 in the 5th. They are tied at 6, and this is what makes mixed doubles so much fun. Is you can see these wild swings, and at times, this one at one point was 6-3, and putting that 3 spot up in 5 for Cotter makes it 6-6. Wu Wenzik up 8-4 over Bulls Dabiri, and Bulls Dean trailing 4-3. So Jensen Danger up 4-3 in that one on sheet G. But let's go back to sheet E, the feature match. You see Maya Belway there as her first stone, and you talked about the power play. We're now seeing it here. A decision made by Chester and Reese-Hansen with the hammer. Tell me what the power play means and why we see the stone set up a little bit different this end than we have previously.
So this is what the power play is. So when a team has hammer, they have a choice. They have 1 power play per game, per 8-end game. And usually you play it in the last half. And right now, with a score that is so tight, Reese-Hansen and Chester really want to find a way to score too. So how they do that is they put their stone in behind the tee line and put an opposition stone, and you can pick either side. It doesn't matter what side, but you pick one or the other. The goal is to try and take the play away from the center. Now you have to remember, you're not allowed to hit any stone in mixed doubles until the 4th rock of the end. So because that red stone's on the button, they can't even remove it from play. So that is a good defensive shot by Team Belway. So right now you're just trying to pull the play away, but you have to make them. They're tough, right? You haven't really thrown that shot before. So the goal is to throw another one in behind that center line and force your opposition to have to do something with it.
55.
So a little bit heavy there for Taylor Reese-Hansen. Not probably happy with that shot, but we'll see what Belway has in their repertoire here to defend against that.
I was asking Corey Chester earlier this week about that power play, and he said to me, I said, when do you use it? Do you use it every game? He goes, I try, but sometimes I just forget. So it's one of those things that's in the back pocket of all the teams if they remember to use it, because it can give them an advantage. But earlier this week, their team used the power play and ended up giving up a steal of 1. So it doesn't always work, but Reese-Hansen and Chester trying to create a little bit of offense here as they're sort of stuck in a tight game with a chance to go to the quarterfinals on the line.
Where is it?
We're close.
Whoa.
Tight.
Hanging.
So you can see Dave trying to throw the exact same shot he did on his first.
Whoa.
Trying to pile things over here to the middle.
Whoa.
So while the team with the hammer is trying to pull play away from the middle, the team without the hammer is trying to pull play towards the center.
And at what point can he go after those rocks? It's 4 total stones.
4 total stones. So he could hit right now. He could have hit that one in blue. I believe we're on the 5th stone here. No, sorry, we're on 5th now. So
one more. He's got to throw one more, and then we can
That's correct. Now we're on the 5th. Yeah. So Corey can throw a hit here, and he's trying to remove at least one of those red stones. Ideally, he doesn't really want to play the double here, Richard, because if you do, that red one that's top, it would actually go in front of the other blue stone. So they're trying to save their shooter here by just removing the 1. Oh, and there you go. Great shot by Corey Chester. That is phenomenal.
So knocking both reds, sticking the blue with the double, sitting 3 at this point with lots of rocks still to go, but a little bit of help there with a little bit of cover over those blues. So in a really good, nice position here as they've drawn, as you described, the play away from the middle of the ice.
Exactly. So now Belway, with even though made 2 fairly good shots to the middle, now has no choice, right? They've got 3 opposition stones that are setting up. They're 2 completely buried. So now Dave has to find a way to defend this by freezing to one of those blue stones, getting it in a position that Reese-Hansen cannot remove it from play. So really important about placement here. Even if you're not fully shot rock, that's okay, but really want to get to the corner of this. Oh, and just comes up a bit light, and I think blue is line 3.
Yeah.
She still has it though, right?
So light and a little bit of an overcurl. And we'll see if
what I was thinking. Okay. Take it all away, So
it looks like they're going to draw it into
that
larger pocket.
Right, the 8-foot, full 8-foot's okay.
So full 8-foot, it sounds like.
Yeah, and decision here is, Taylor immediately went and said, draw the play away from all those stones. I like that.
Okay, this is
Just
a
get the play
16
away,
path. It's fast.
and then Belway would
Play
have
it
to make a
super
decision
fast
of whether
here.
to hit the one over here or not, the open one. If you draw to the rocks, there's always a chance for a double, sometimes a triple, so sometimes you don't really want to group your stones. But most importantly, you want to protect what you have there, and sometimes protecting what you have there is to go to the other side. But this looks like a pretty good rock. You don't want this too deep. See, by going that deep, Richard, it does give an out for Belway. Now they can corner freeze it, maybe be second shot. They can freeze the back one, be shot stone. So that one would have been perfect if it was about 2 or 3 feet higher.
That's a really good shot.
You're right. We have to leave it a hair higher.
You said it too, eh? It was fast path.
Yeah.
2 for sure.
Yeah, if Dave can hit what he can see, I bet you he gets at least 2 going, if not 3.
We get this right here.
Tough shot, but it is there.
Or we just play this.
Yeah, we might just get the one and roll right off, right?
Yeah. We can play this with a little bit of bumper.
That right to there is good, and they're only laying 1. I think the draw is a shot.
So they're looking at the option you talked about moving a lot of those around, but a little bit of worry, it sounded like in his voice, about what outcome that could lead to. So it sounds like he's opted for the draw.
Yeah, and the reason for that is he's extremely worried about what would happen to his shooter. So the shooter with the rock that Dave is throwing now. If you hit what you can see, which probably maybe half-ish, you're going to lose your shooter. It's going to roll out. So if you don't get a good result with the blue ones being moved, then it really, even though it accomplished removing some blue ones, losing your shooter is a big deal. So by making sure by throwing the draw, you're making sure that your rock stays in play. And it forces your opposition to have to probably make a more difficult shot.
We're good.
Can't be deep here.
It's heavy, a little heavy.
Yeah, you really don't want to be heavy. You want to be above the tee line here. Oh, interesting.
So that's close. It may be shot. Blue may still be sitting 1. But that one just beside it there.
Another inch.
Yeah. See in here?
Okay.
So what are we looking at here? Are they looking to clear this thing out?
Okay.
It looks like they're trying to freeze. And again, now you can only see half of that redstone. So if you could see more of it, I could see them throwing a tiny bit of weight, maybe backline weight, punching the red one out and rolling away from that group. By freezing to it again, you're creating that pocket for your opposition, but you really don't have a chance.
Okay, better wait.
Here. They're sitting they're probably sitting shot or second. We're not quite sure.
Weight's good.
So now.
And Chester said he liked it right out of his hand. Said much better weight than the last one. I mean, and he's seen this line before, so he's sensitive.
Little light.
Hard then.
So you can hear Corey saying light, so he's got to brush this for weight.
Easy. 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 Easy.
This looks really, really good.
That's good, Corey.
Wow, what a shot.
15-7.
Blue sitting 2 now, and Belway set up with their last stone. And what are they looking at?
No, sorry.
Maya Belway quick down to the other end.
Yeah, really no option here, I don't think. You can see what Dave is indicating is she's got to get to freeze to the face of that blue stone. Even if you're a little on the inside, that's the outside, that's probably not bad. You'll still get second stone and maybe only give up a max of 2. A couple of things you don't want to do, which we don't always like to point out, is you don't want to bounce off. You can't bounce off, and you don't want to overcurl. So really tough shot here from Maya, but Dave's going to try and get this one in a perfect position here. Wait, sounds like it's pretty close.
Got a curl.
Yeah, line looks okay. Don't want to bounce it. Oh boy. Oh boy.
So they're sitting 1 obviously, but wide open for a hit that is likely going to be for 4.
You betcha. Yeah, I unfortunately, you heard Maya say it had to curl, and Dave knew that it had a little extra weight on it. So this is a wide open hit here for 4 points, as you say.
Can you show me the broom?
And they're making that decision as we described earlier.
Yeah, that might be
Go
max
down and
still.
sweep, or do you set the broom down? So Corey's giving her a sense of what it's going to look like. She's locked it in, and now she'll get in the hack and make that throw with Corey there to help the sweep to keep that line straight.
Exactly, and that's such a good tactic. It's all about the visual, right? If you can visualize where the broom needs to be.
Yep.
Okay, I like it.
So you can hear she's saying 11-5. That's probably maybe control
Yeah, let's make it.
a little more than board weight. So Corey's going to probably get on this early to keep it straight, and Taylor will let him know what happens as it makes its way down the path.
Queen. Yep. Whoa, queen. Whoa. Queen.
Clean is always a good thing.
Clean. Straight. Good.
Miss it. Beauty.
Nice shot.
The girl.
So 4 there, and the 7-3 the score now. Taylor Reese-Hansen executing that one beautifully, and team Reese-Hansen Chester up 7-3, and we said there's lots of chances to score lots here, and we saw it there in 6, and we'll be back to finish this one off pretty quickly coming up after the break. Welcome back to the Victoria Curling Club. The power play has been set up here in 7. We saw it in 6. It ended up exactly how Chester and Reese-Hansen were hoping it was going to end up, with that 4 in 6, and Belway hoping it means the same luck for them here in the 7th.
That's exactly right. So with this power play now, you know, Belway has a plan here that they're going to try and bring that play around that corner guard as soon as they can. And I would imagine that Chester Reese-Hansen, they're going to try and throw one, I would imagine, on the tee line, other side of the 4 foot.
Yeah, let's make it good.
Quick look around the rink, and Cotter stealing in 6 to take a 7-6 lead over on 8 against Wilson and Tardy. Here on G
right
in front of us.
Good weight.
Weight's good. Yep.
There as well as Bulls Dean scoring 3 and 5 to go up 6-4 on Jensen Dang. And on B, Wu Wenzik up 8-5 over Bulls and DeBeery.
Oh, let's talk about this shot. There's a couple different shots that you play when you are playing against the power play. One of them is to draw to the open side or draw to the 4 foot area. The other one that I've seen this team play before is trying to angle your own rock. It's your own rock that's out front, and you can angle it into the center line or even into the rings and try and get rid of your shooter. So it doesn't matter as long as you don't remove that stone, but you can get rid of your shooter if you want.
Yeah, that was the question I had. Does it matter if it's your stone or the opponent's stone? You're allowed to move your own stone around wherever you want on the ice. You just can't remove it.
Correct. So great shot there by Taylor. That's a fantastic shot. So now usually what you'll see is Team Belway would likely try and put another guard up here if they can. This one's coming in, I would think, a little bit more than they want, but still, you got to remember, you can't remove those stones yet. So that's a great shot by Maya.
And it gives Reese-Hansen and Chester here an opportunity to start working it along that center line if they decide to, and it looks like that's where the broom's been set up by Reese-Hansen for Chester here to put that stone.
That's right. Let's get away from that corner, they're saying, and try and get this play. Now with that rock moved by Taylor on her first, this is a great chance for Corey to get one right in behind the button.
Top button.
And that's going to take away the plan and the tactic away from Belway, but they're going to figure it out here.
Higher the better on him.
Back button.
Do you want to just come back?
Trying to make sure for Corey this one is above the tee line. You don't really want this one to slip behind.
Good, nice shot. I think we're just hitting these next, hey?
So just a little bit there, and we'll see where Belway works it, but we're running out of ends in some regards. Chester Reese-Hansen has gone near the end with the lead, but a lead of 4 with just 2 left, and Belway needs to take full advantage of the opportunity with hammer.
You got it, and you know, you got to think though, you can get 2, you want to get 2 for sure. 3 is fantastic, well 4 is obviously even better, but you just have to bring the score close. You never know what can happen in the last end. There's no power plays left, so it's going to be played straightforward in the last end no matter what. So it's about Belway. I like this call. They're putting up a corner guard to protect those 2 red stones in the ring, so that doesn't allow Chester and Reese-Hansen to go after him, and that looks like a fantastic shot by Dave.
Sure. Yeah.
At some point, as we know, though, there's not a lot of rocks to be played here, so Belway has to keep an eye on what Chester and Reese-Hansen are doing. They're still playing to that 4 foot.
Yeah,
They've
exactly.
got one buried. Yeah, so, you know, he's going to put another one in there. You're going to have to make a play on your next.
It's almost like they're playing 2 different ends
more.
here.
Exactly.
Belway is working their way to the sides, and Chester and Reese-Hansen are working their way down to the center line. And at some point, those need to be
Stay
cleared
close.
out.
I don't want to touch it.
Okay.
And you can hear Corey saying this one has too much weight. So hoping it goes right by it. He doesn't really want to touch that blue stone and punch it under. So there's
Okay, good try.
not a great shot by Corey. He's going to not be happy with that one for sure.
Can you see any of that one from the hack or no?
Really didn't think that was.
You can just see this end here with that miss by Corey, that things are going to start piling up. The red ones, those are safe over there. You good look at the red ones over there. They're safe. Now, they're not going anywhere right now. So now the play is going to be in the middle. And you can see over half that rock, I would think. So Dave has a chance now to hit that blue one with just soft weight and roll his shooter away from the center. They don't want anything behind that center line.
Draw everything away and
touch of the slipper.
make those rocks count and keep the ones they have compiled as potential for down the line.
Yep.
Yep. Curling. Hard. 3.
Maya working hard here.
Hard, Maya, hard, every bit.
Looks a little light, I think, Richard.
Yeah, and I may be heading right to that stone and crashing, and it way over curled.
Yeah, really light. I think he was trying to actually throw way more weight at him.
T-line.
Yeah, so light and over curl, you know, in part because of how light it was, it started to curl there, and that changes the complexion a bit of what the Reese-Hansen Chester team's looking at here. Chester quick to get back in the hack, but strategy's changed a little bit, and he's going to try to throw what he did last time with a bunch less weight as they put the broom down right on that center line.
Yeah, so this is all now about protecting that rock that's back button. You know, again, there's nothing they can do over on the left-hand side. But ideally, if he can put this top 4 top button, tolerance is on the light side. He doesn't want to give them a chance to get in there and freeze to it.
Still running.
But again, Corey doesn't want to be heavy here. You've got to keep this one above the tee line for sure.
Go around it, Corey.
No, we're short.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay, curl.
Uh-oh. You can hear Taylor trying to hope that one to curl a bit more.
Wow.
There was a lot of confidence early with what they were seeing on the ice. It seems now potentially the ice could be changing, that there's less confidence there in those.
If it ends early,
Yeah, I can't see it all. I think it's a board right there, yeah.
Yeah, so Corey not happy with that one for sure, Richard. Chance here, if you can hit what you can see, both those blues go, and there's going to be red line 3 here very shortly.
Weight obviously up a lot from that last stone.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Different type of shot trying to execute with, as you described, lots of rock in sight.
Yeah, try and get past that guard first and make sure your shooter stays in play. Got to get by. Whoa, what a shot by Dave.
Go, hard, Maya.
Splitting those two, getting them both out. Great shot as he gets right by that guard.
Terrific
and
shot.
Sitting 3 now. And this is the sort of situation. Things evolve through the end, and with those rocks that started out early on the outside rings, those now come into play as the middle is wide open after that hit. So what are we looking at here? Let's take a look at the last shot. As you know, you describe it, just sneaks right by the guard.
Look at that, just gets by barely in perfect weight. Moves both of those, one out of the rings and one out far enough that those two still get back into play, those two on the right-hand side of the sheet as we look at it. So for Team Reese-Hansen, Chester, they got to make a decision here, right? They can actually hit that stone that's there. It's very difficult to throw a hit and roll under. And you take a little bit of a risk by doing that because you got to get by that guard so tight. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Taylor has called the freeze. And why she's doing that is by freezing to that stone right on the nose, it takes away those 2 red stones and they cannot count unless Maya can blast them.
I didn't add much.
So we are on the last stone here for blue in the 5th end. Sorry, 7th end, pardon me.
Hold there.
Gotta lock it on here, not give Dave a chance, or Maya a chance, pardon me, to hit it.
So a little bit of bounce, but we'll see how much Maya Belway can see.
Yeah, that's true. We could carve it.
Well, I would say you could probably see a quarter, and with the way it curls, if you throw half or more, I think she can make this for 4.
But yeah, that's a shot.
You think so?
Yeah.
It's like just a heavy hack. We tick the guard, we tick the guard. I mean,
we want more.
The draw is impossible, so there's no draw.
No, we can make this easy.
Okay, let's do it.
Good confidence there.
Reese-Hansen not so sure about the confidence, but it's good to have it, as Belway's going to try to execute this tough shot. But describe what we're going to see here is what they've called in terms of what they're trying to execute.
So you can barely see that blue stone, but what she needs to throw here, you heard Dave say heavy hack, so that's what I'm thinking, hack to board, kind of somewhere in the middle there. If she can get by that guard, I don't know if she's doubting herself.
One of the reasons she may be doubting herself is how much stone she can see, right? Would that be the sense of what you see in the hack that may be different when you're in the house?
Yeah, absolutely, but the thing is you have to remember it curls so much. If you throw that nice down weight, it is going to finish at the end. Once it hits the break point, which is just outside the hog line, you just can't overthrow these ones.
You look tight or no?
We got a curl.
So you hit what you can see. It's not going to roll very far, and you are going to get 4 here, or maybe even 3. 3 is great, but you don't want to hit your own out if you got to get this to curl. Oh boy.
I knew it.
Wow.
One blue.
So this is what they were worried about, and it happened. A steal of 1 for Reese-Hansen and Chester as Belway. Belway couldn't get that rock to curl as much as it needed to, and the opportunity goes by the wayside. They keep the hammer, but now a lot of pressure with just 6 possible points on the board. They need to get 5 of them, and it changes the strategy a bit. But, you know, a tough shot and a little bit of a tough break for Maya Belway there. Let's take a quick look around the rink here. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll give you an update on the other scores. We'll be back for the 8th end coming up after the break.
Okay, let's.
Look out, Karen Masson. Got it.
There to Jesse King, who scores again.
At West Shore Motorsports Park. Crossing the box for Parmar, and she's done it. The opening goal.
Welcome back to the Victoria Curling Club. Richard Zussman alongside Melissa Saligo. Thank you for joining us here. Is the round of 12. The winner here heads to the quarterfinals in the BC Mixed Doubles Championship.
It should be there.
Lots of action going on. We have the first final over on sheet B. Wu Wenzik winning 12-5 over Bowles and DeBeery, so they'll head on to the next round. On sheet A, Cotter leads 8-6. Wilson Tardy with hammer and 8 coming home. And on ice G, We have 7-6 Jensen Dang up over Bowles Dean as they're curling in the 7th. Back to our feature match here. We have things all set up in the middle again after back-to-back power plays. Belway in scramble mode, obviously needing to score 5 in this last.
Yeah, very much so. You know, I think back to that last shot of Maya. She absolutely threw perfect weight. Needed to curl another maybe 6 inches, and she makes a shot for a potential 3 or 4. Such a big difference here, but now, as you say, it's all about trying to find a way to make all of your rocks count here. So for Taylor Reese-Hansen, a little heavy on her first, and didn't quite get to the face, and Maya makes no mistake on hers. And now it's about Corey Chester trying to ensure that he gets in front of those red 2 stones and not create an opportunity for Belway to get back in this game with all of their red stones.
We'll obviously get back to here in a minute, but the girls U18 finals tonight, we'll have that tonight at 7. The semifinals are underway right now. The Rempel rink up 3-2 over the Bartlett rink in one semifinal. Fitzgibbon over Arndt 4-2 in the other semifinal. Bartlett and Rempel are through 5. Fitzgibbon and Art are in 5 now. We'll have that final later. It's been an exciting tournament. We'll talk more about that obviously tonight at 7. But let's finish up here as we have Chester's first rock moving around the red a little bit, and blue now sitting shot. So the key for Belway clearly is they need to keep stones in play. And what's the best, most effective way to do that in their case?
They got to keep everything above the tee line. And usually if you're behind the tee line, it isn't going to count. So keep everything above the tee line. Try and create the angles. At some point, you know, unfortunately, when you're down 5, you got to hope for a miss. There has to be a miss by the other side if you're expecting to get 5 in this end. Whoa. So again, this one looks like it's got a little extra weight on it. You must keep above the tee line. You've got to create those angles.
And also factor in at some point, blue can start removing these reds, and when you remove those rocks, you know, eventually you run out.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I think I thought I thought I saw Taylor call a draw, but that can't be right. So I think she's going to call a hit here.
Yeah, I knows it. But what kind of weight?
Whatever. Yeah, I can throw firm.
Okay.
Nose hit, firm weight. You hear Chester there communicating. It really, you see that experience out on the ice. Their ability to communicate is efficient and effective, and you've seen that throughout the match.
Yeah, for sure. And Corey is very, very comfortable throwing this firm weight, very clean, very confidently. And if you make it firm and you get to the nose, I think we're going to see at least 2 reds spill here.
And then that's handshakes and so
you betcha.
Yep, hard out.
And there you go. What a shot.
So that's it. They're looking around trying to do the math, but it looks like they've got it done. Corey Chester and Taylor Reese-Hansen will be moving on to the quarterfinal as we finish up here on this one. Good back and forth. They'll be happy with the outcome. It seems like their best game so far this tournament. And, you know, when you have these knockout rounds, you need to peak when the games, you know, really start to matter.
Exactly. You've got to bring your A game, as we said earlier, every single time you step on the ice right now. And single knockout from here on end. And Reese-Hansen, Chester playing a fantastic game. And Belway really hanging in there and really putting the rocks in great positions. But it really comes down to that one shot in the previous end.
All right, we're going to take a break. I think we can pop back in at the end and say goodbye. But let's hear the music. We'll take a break. We'll come back and we'll just wrap up some of the scores and tell you what you're expecting to see over the next few days here.
To be the most Canadian thing I've ever seen.
Well, maybe if he was also eating a poutine.
Whoa. And drinking maple syrup.
And he's also a curler.
Guys, you know I've never actually been curling before.
And you call yourself a Canadian?
I'm sorry.
There's more than 1,000 curling facilities in Canada. Be a good Canadian and find one near you today.
Alongside Melissa Saligo, welcome back to the Victoria Curling Club. Exciting game we just saw in front of us. I think we're going to get a sense of some of the big shots that we saw today, and obviously they focus in here on, let's take a look. Do you remember this one?
Yeah, just a little bit heavy on her last one there. Does create the steal, and you know, again, we talk about it over and over again. It's all about the angle. So a great shot there by Reese-Hansen and Chester. You can see Dave scratching his head here, trying to figure out how they can beat these guys here.
And so they are heading off to the quarterfinals now. Up next for them, so the pool winners all got to go on to the next round. So Hafeli and Kapitko will be their opponent in the next round. We are waiting for the other teams to move on. We've had one. Wu Wenzik has moved on in their match, so they will be playing later on against Brissett and Middleton. Sterling Middleton is the pro here at the Victoria Curling Club. He gave me a lesson right here on the ice in front of us, which made a big difference in my game. So we're going to start seeing these quarters shape up. I know you'll be doing the finals of this one tomorrow. What are you looking over the next few? They've got a lot of curling ahead of them, the doubles, as they go again today, and then they go tomorrow, and then they have the finals tomorrow. What are you expecting as we watch this unfold over the next 24 hours?
That's the thing. I can't make any predictions. I mean, we just don't know what's going to happen out there, and there's so many close games, and I expect the same thing tonight, Richard. It's going to be pretty fun.
Yeah, and there's still a few more to watch, so obviously stay on the Curl BC website. You can check those scores, and then we'll see you at 7. The semifinals are underway now for the women, but for the girls, but we will have them tonight. On behalf of Melissa, so many people to thank. Our friends at Roll Focus, lots of sponsors from Curl BC, AMJ, Great Western Brewing, Optimist International, Ice King. We'll do the more sponsors later on. The province of British Columbia, Via Sport, Co-op, Johnson Insurance. And thank you again for tuning in, and we'll see you a little bit later on at 7 for the U18 girls final.